Texas. The issue is.
I'm Greg Grugan in Houston.
I'm Rudy Koski in Austin.
And I'm Stephen Dial in Dallas, and this is Texas, the issue is.
The battle over the border flared brightly this week with Governor Greg Abbott and state troopers accused of employing brutal anti-immigrant tactics, and Senator John Cornyn calling out President Biden for losing complete contact with tens of thousands of unaccompanied migrant kids. Senator John Cornyn, you have sounded the alarm about tens of thousands of immigrant children who have entered our country and simply vanished. What's happening and who is responsible?
Well, during President Biden's administration, 300,000 unaccompanied children have been welcomed into this country and placed with sponsors. Some are relatives, some are not. But the Health and Human Services Department, the Office of Refugee Relocation, is responsible for finding the sponsors and then calling at least 30 days after they're with the sponsors to check up on them. In 85,000 cases, there was no response and no follow-up by the Department of Health and Human Services. And the Biden administration takes the position that it's not their responsibility. It's the responsibility of Child Protective Services in the various states. And it's completely irresponsible because we don't know whether these kids are going to school. We don't know whether they're getting their health care needs are being taken care of, or whether they're being trafficked for sex or involuntary servitude. So it's completely unacceptable.
Senator, for these kids who are likely being victimized, this is kind of a catch-22. If they stay in their country of origin, the future is bleak. And if they pay the price to come here, they are really rolling the dice and may well experience a different brand of hell. Agree?
Open borders, such as the Biden administration has tolerated with their policies, means that this occurs in the hands of these transnational criminal organizations, the cartels. They don't care anything about the people. All they care about is the money, which is why they traffic in people, why they traffic in drugs and other contraband. But this is the consequence of the open borders policy of this administration. Just because the numbers seem to be going down a little bit, they're still 3 times as bad as they were under the Obama administration. They're still terrible, about 3,600 migrants encountered at the border each day. But it's not just the migrants, it's the drugs and it's the kids. But the Biden administration doesn't seem to care.
This week, the Biden Justice Department announced it's suing the state of Texas over its deployment of river barriers. How are you responding?
These buoys, these barriers on the river, they only cover, I think, about a quarter of a mile. Joe Biden doesn't understand. We have a 1,200-mile common border with Mexico. These are tactical barriers being used to divert migrants so that the Border Patrol has a better chance of controlling the situation. Right now, they're overwhelmed because of the sheer mass of humanity coming across. It's a sick joke for the Biden administration not to do their job and then turn around and sue the state of Texas when the governor and the legislature try to do theirs.
Okay, friends, my one-word reaction is fiasco. Rudy, lay one and only one on me.
Well, Greg, you got a good word there, and I was thinking about that word. But my word, disconnect.
Okay, Stephen, what's your word?
Priorities.
Okay, there you have it. Much to discuss about the debacle on the border when the Fox Texas Trio returns on the other side of this break.